is it, why isn't it working? Hello? That's not right. Okay, 21, 22? Okay. Itchy. Woman in the Middle Ages. Okay, let's go with it. Alright. The lives of real women in a vibrant age of transition. Wow. Wow. Socks. You see that right there? Kind of? Itchy. Woman in the early Middle Ages. During the 5 centuries of the Roman Empire, 27 BC to AD 476, 47, women made dramatic gains in rights, freedom, and status over the predecessors in Greece and Republican Rome. Athens, to quote historian Vern Buldo, the status of women seemed to have achieved some kind of nadir in Western history. Athenian women were married without consent, were segregated in the Gynaeceum, had few property rights, and lived under the guardianship of male relatives. Double standards prevailed for divorce and adultery. In early Rome, women's condition was little better, but at the end of the empire, women in most of Roman-dominated Western Europe had achieved a degree of equality with men in respect to marriage, property rights, divorce. Even enjoyed some economic independence. Their position, in fact, had improved to such a point that some 19th century historians blame the fall of Rome in part on women's rise. Adult Roman women were virtually free from male guardianship. Wives could divorce husbands. Dowries were safeguarded. Why do I turn the page? With some restrictions, girls could inherit equally with their brothers. Women had an important role in religion, sharing with their husbands the responsibility for supervising the household cults, serving as vestal virgins, and in some cases as priestesses, and even conducting their own cults from which men were excluded. While they had no political rights and could not hold office or serve on councils, they often exerted significant influence through their husbands. Upper-class Roman women were educated. Calpurnia, the wife of Pliny the Younger, AD c. 61 through c. 113, possessed cultivated literary taste. With a preference for the works of her husband, she sings my verses and sets them to her lyre with no other master but love. The best instructor wrote her gratified husband. Pliny's contemporary Juvenal complained about the typical Roman blue-stocking who abandoned her embroidery and music to study law and politics, or who paraded her literary evaluations. The grammarians make her way before her. The rhetoricians give in, the whole crowd is silenced. The 4th century church father St. Jerome held classes for noble Roman women on the Aventin Hill. A letter to the daughter-in-law of one of his students offered modern-sounding advice about the education of her newborn daughter. Have a set of letters made for her, a boxwood of boxwood or ivory, and tell her their names. Let her play with them, making a road to learning, and let her not only grasp the right order of the letters and remember their names in a simple song, but also frequently upset their order and mix the last letters with the middle ones, the middle with the first. Thus she will know them all by sight as well as by sound. When she begins with uncertain hand to use the pen, either let another hand be put over hers to guide her baby fingers, or else have the letters marked on the tablet so that her writing may follow their outlines. Their outlines and keep to their limits without straying. Offer her prizes for spelling, tempting her with such trifling gifts. So please, young children, let her have companions too in her lessons, so that she may seek to revival them and be stimulated by any praise they win. You must not scold her if she is somewhat slow. Praise is the best sharpener of wits. Let her be glad when she is first and sorry when she falls behind. Above all, take care, let her not to make her lessons distasteful. Tacticus pictured the Germans as noble savages, in contrast to the effete, corrupt, pleasure-loving Romans. Upper-class German women shared their husband's Spartan existence in a kind of virtuous equality. Girls were raised in the same way as boys. They are equals in age and strength when they are mated. Wives nurse their husbands' wounds and even accompany them in battle. Some German women fronted alongside the men by the custom of Morgengabe. A male dowry was given by the groom to the bride, not jewels or trinkets. Tacticus reportedly admiringly, but oxen, a horse and bridle, a shield and spear or sword. Here is the gist of the bond between them. The wife is thus warned by the very rites with which her marriage begins, that she comes to share hard work and peril, that her fate will be the same as his in peace and in battle, her risks the same. Her life was one of fenced-in chastity, flirtation and adultery. Those decadent Roman vices were scarcely known to the wholesome Germans. An unfaithful wife had her hair cropped, was stripped naked, and whipped through the village by her husband. The immoral Roman practices of contraception and abortion were considered abominations. German mothers, unlike Rome's fastidious matrons, suckled their own children. Because women were credited with an uncanny and prophetic sense, the Germans neither scorned to consult them nor slight their answers. Female deities, including Mother Earth, were worshipped. But Tacticus, writing in 98 AD, the bias by his censorious attitude toward his own society is a suspect observer. Their documentation is meager. Germanic sources in the form of the law codes of tribes that migrated into Italy, France, Spain, and Britain indicated a considerably less lofty status for German women. Although the codes extended special protection to women and often provided for a higher Wehrgeld, compensation for murder or injury paid to the relatives of a victim for females, they left no doubt as to which sex was in charge. As under Greek and early Roman law, dramatic women were considered incapable of looking after their own interests. The Lombard Code, for example, regarded women as perpetual minors under the guardianship of a male relative whose permission was needed for any transaction involving property. Saxon law, written down in 785, contains similar provisions. A widow became the ward of her deceased husband's nearest male relative. If she remarried, her children were placed under similar guardianship. Polygamy was common among most of the Germanic tribes. Wives were bought and sold. Rape was treated as theft, and husbands could repudiate wives with little ceremony. Long after the conversion of the Frankish king Clovis to Christianity, AD 506, his successors clung to the pagan comforts of polygamy and concubines, divorcing their wives at will despite the church's injunctions. Lothar, the youngest son of Clovis, had 7 wives, some simultaneously, and numerous concubines. When his wife Ingrid begged him to find for her sister Arigun, an able and rich husband, that I will not. An able and rich husband, that I be not humbled, but exalted by her, and thus may give thee yet more faithful service. The king, who was most amorous by temperament, began to look at Arigun in a new light. He visited her and returned to report to Ingrid. I sought a man wealthy and of good wit, whom I might give in marriage to thy sister, but I found none better than myself. Know therefore that I had found none better than myself. Know therefore that I had taken her to wife, which I believe will not displease thee. Ingrid submitted meekly. Let my lord, this is a fun picture too. 6th century Frankish monarch Lothar, most amorous by temperament, had 7 wives, many concubines. That's his gay. Ingrid submitted meekly. Let my lord do that which seemeth good in his sight. Only let his handmaid Ingrid live in the enjoyment of his favor. It just keeps going. It's a cool book. And I got it for free. From Door County. Actually, Washington Island. That little, there's like a science museum, art gallery place / school. And they were giving away a bunch of free books because they were going through their library. And I picked this one out amongst the other one, which is When to Say Goodbye to Your Therapist. Lord knows I needed to read that. I think we're done for now because we need to take care of ourselves. Okay, bye.